Hi everyone. It's so good to come to you and speak to you every day, as much as I can anyway. You know, I've been fasting so much I've literally turned into air. All my insides are turned to glass. I'm really looking good, don't you think? That's my Alpha hat. Now this wasn't my idea. You guys just couldn't resist my glass head. Hey, little sweet Alfie, give me my glasses back. You guys are funny. Merry Christmas. Are you gonna do your Alpha thing? Thanks, Drew. Thanks, man. Good day, my dear ones. They just got to play around it. You see what I have to live with around here? I mean, these guys, you get a little new toy, and they all start playing. It's good to talk with you guys. You know, yesterday we were talking about, and we had a question about raising our babies. And I thought, it gave me an idea that I thought would be important, and we're going to put it up on the website. We're going to show you the percentages of lipids to proteins to carbohydrates to minerals, just to show you the difference between human mother's milk. And of course, this is a human mother's milk when someone probably raised totally on meats and stuff like that. So it's probably even less. But take a look at the difference between mother's milk, cow's milk, and coconut milk. So I'm gonna read these to you and show them, because I had Jen B put them on a form for us, but I'm gonna do it up real nice so you guys can see the percentage of difference. So these concepts that are out there that we need to give our babies high proteins and high lipids is such a fallacy, and it's a fallacy that's carried by the AMA. And these child formulas, these plastic canned crap, pedicures and stuff like that. I mean, we're talking about living babies, and yet we're so willing to give them something in a can. And of course, Gerber, they have what they do, they found 11 or 12 different pesticides in Gerber's baby food. So now you can get organic Gerber's baby food without the pesticides, or you can get the same stuff with the pesticides. I mean, geez, you know, it's crazy out there, and you all have to just protect yourselves from that. Did you ever want to think that eating anything cooked or destroyed is superior to the same thing raw? There are some food just not meant to eat that in the vegetable world that you almost have to cook to break it down. You know, when you have a complex structure like that you have to cook it to break it down, it's not fit to eat. So why do we even mess with it? Taste, you know, that sort of thing is the only thing really. So take a look at this. This is human breast milk. I thought it was a little more, but it isn't. The lipid content of breast milk is from 3 to 5% of the milk is lipids. Okay, 3% to 5%. Get this. The protein content, Marcy thought was about 6. The protein content of human mother's milk is under 1%. 0.8 to 0.9% is the protein of mother's milk. Let's flip real quick to the protein content of a cow's milk, and that is 4%. 4% of a cow's milk is protein, and less than 1% of mother's milk, human mother's milk, is protein. Huge difference, but a huge difference in growth and a huge difference in size at the end all. On a cow weighs about 1,500 pounds to 2,000 pounds, depending whether it's a bull or whatever. Coconut milk in protein has a half of 1%, so it's even lower still. The fat content of coconut milk is very low, considering what people think. And yet it is considered high lipid nut, and yet it's only 0.25% or 0.15% actually. Now, get this, the mineral content, the ash of human breast milk is only 2%, or 0.2%. It is so low, it's not even funny. And somewhere I was seeing cow's milk as the mineral content is only 0.7%. Here it is. Cow's milk, vitamins and minerals are 0.7%, where the humans is, now get this, the carbohydrate in human milk is almost 7%. Actually, right at 7%. So protein is less than 1, carbohydrates are 7. Why? And this falls true with all of them. Carbohydrates are always more. That's why your fruits and your veggies are the highest in carbohydrates. Excuse me. Ending it up. But they each depending upon the size of the animal or individual, it just really depends upon the species, the size of the species, and all that to the content of the milk. Well, why wouldn't it? I mean, that's God. I mean, God would make the milks to fit the species. The problem is that most species intuitively eat the foods their body's designed to eat. We're the only creatures that do not do that. We've lost our ability to be intuitive. Some of you are very intuitive, not to knock that, but man as a rule is just eating out of his mind and emotions and not out of intuitiveness and not eating for the health of it. He's eating for the joy of it. And when you get to places like this, probably about the only thing that's joyful is to eat for some people, but not me. I think that your food must make you well as you eat it and enjoy the taste. Good fruit and berries and melons that are grown properly and picked ripe, there's no words to describe how good they are. So I hope that helps you to understand that that fear based around taking babies away from milk. And this is, again, one of the problems I'm having with my infant formulas. Too nutritious, and I keep getting this. It's too strong. So I don't want to create gorillas, so I'm having to cut it down. And you can see here that the mineral content of mother's milk is very, very low. You must think of something else, guys. When you have a newborn, their digestive system, everything else is just coming online. You don't give them high-protein diets and high-fat diets when their digestive organs, of course, remember the genetics of all these tissues in today's world, stacked on top of the fact that this is a newborn. You want the easiest to digest food. Mother's milk is not going to be complex. And even today with the baby's genetics in the liver and the gallbladder and in the bowels and in the pancreases, they're having even a hard time with simple mother's milk. This is why they do well with coconut milk, because it's much lower in lipids. And this is particularly true when you see hepatic or liver problems in your babies. But it's okay. You don't have to worry about your baby getting deficient, because some of these babies have to be fixed before you can kick up anything like that. Or you put your babies into some serious stress, serious colicky type symptoms, and serious mucus type symptoms. Well, then there goes the fevers, then there goes the ER trip, and there goes the antibiotics and a little Tylenol to break the fever. Here we go, around the I've seen this year in and year out when I worked in the ERs. Mamas would bring, especially when I worked for St. Joe's, which was a not-for-profit. You know, single parents would come in with their babies, a little light 99-degree fever. I said, go home and clean them. Oh, no. Pop them with a little antibiotic. It's like, what are you doing? You're sentencing these children to hell, and the parents are not learning what's causing it. But you can't have an ER doc that doesn't know anything about that help someone like that, and that's the problem with emergency rooms. And then in the emergency rooms, there's so many more things we can do to help people coming in there. It's been a lot of years, observed a lot of things. But when you get them up on the floors, that's when everything goes to hell. Diets and everything else. Not knocking it, because there's some great nurses out there, and people have to enter the hospitals, and people have to have, all this stuff done, particularly in today's world with the type of diets people have eaten, strokes, heart attacks, everything like that's all over the place. So we have to have all these things, no question about it. But we should look into how to improve what we know and get rid of what we don't know and that's not working that we're using. But I hope that helps you to understand that We're not looking at mega nutrition on anything. That is fallacy. And the fallacy is more's better. That's fallacy. It is better to understand that digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination of waste, both digestive and cellular, are essential for a healthy body. Once you fix these things and you regenerate the genetic weaknesses, you've got a body that'll work like a clock. Perfect working, everything's fine. Foods that you're eating, if you're eating raw, self-cleansing, so they clean the bowels and the kidneys as you're consuming them. So the point is, we have to get back to some semblance of ground zero, some semblance of health, and then go forth. So that's why we're a little stricter with the fruits and the berries and the melons, because of the detoxification need to get to Wellville. After that, there's no question you can balance out a little bit, but when you do, you still have to remember this chemistry. And I will have this done for you to where you will be able to look at the chemistry of the fruits in general, the chemistry of vegetables in general, the chemistry of blood serum levels, the chemistry of all of this. And you'll be, the milks and everything, and you'll be able to really see for yourself that a lot of this propaganda is bullcrap. And it gets our kids and ourselves into trouble all the time. Whenever the American Dietetics has an opinion, you can just about take it to the bank that it's totally opposite of what's true. That they're all driven by special interest groups. This country is so driven by special interest groups that we're in so financial trouble. And yet, and I blame the Republicans too, and yet they stuck all this extra money on our 1.1 trillion financial bill. I mean, I'm just looking at that going, are you kidding? And then all these special interests started getting taken care of, millions and billions for them in the same bill, and it's like, what? And we're so much in trouble. So, you know, the Tea Party has to win because they're the only ones that know what's wrong and how to fix it. Everyone else is career politicians with backroom deals. Even when we're so much in trouble, even when they're the most hated Congress ever, I don't know. I shouldn't even care, really, because it's not my planet. All right, subject, awareness and consciousness. All right. Now we're talking. Who's asking this? Steve Jacobs. Thank you for your comments on the beauty of being alone. Yeah. I wonder how many of you got that. You know, intense. I've always come up in my life with an intense sense of aloneness. And then living out in the woods by myself is extremely intense. But there's your door. Because it's through that that you find consciousness. It's hard to describe that. More and more, I am so content and happy being alone. Absolutely. And you'll get that way. And it'll be nirvanic. Because the ecstasy and bliss, you merge into consciousness because that alone exists. It's only God. So that alone exists. It only appears that there's all levels of activity and creation. You got all these different people and all these different creatures and all kinds of things. But it still comes from the one. And in each and every creature, that alone exists. It's intense, but incredibly nirvanic. I mean, it's like a magnet. It'll suck you in, and you have to be careful because it'll stop you at a certain level because you can't still have bodies and use them and get too far into the pure consciousness. You just won't come back. It's impossible. It's just I was rapidly going that way in a contemplation, and it just was trying to get me to stop, and I didn't want to stop, but then it took me probably 5-10 minutes to try to stop myself from expanding anymore and to try to get some semblance of my focus back to the bodies. And it's just major stuff, major fun. During my journey back to health, I've become increasingly aware of the possibilities in an expanded state of consciousness. Others don't understand it and are always trying to pull me back to the mundane issues present and the egotistic yeah, egocentric, I'll put that, world of the mind. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's that same thing in health, too. You know, you got those, I was just having a discussion with a lady out there because her daughter's taking some nutritional class and teaching her that fructose is taken right to the liver and converted to glucose. Why would you convert a simple sugar to another simple sugar, which is idisine, or convert it to glycogen, which is idisine? This is just part of the theories that exist in allopathy that is stupid, that doesn't, ridiculous. There's only 3 simple sugars of nature. And those 3 simple sugars are important to be active because carbon is the central need. And you'll see that when you look at the milks and you look at everything else, that the carbon ranks the highest by far over proteins and lipids, by far. But that's why carbohydrates is essential food for man. But it's also the central food for omnivores. You know, most omnivores, except for those wild dogs and things, most omnivores have a high percentage of vegetarian foods. Look at the grizzly bear. 65% of the diet of a grizzly bear is sage grass. There's 13% on top of that is berries, tubers, roots, things like that. And then there was only, I think, 7% National Geographic was claiming. Black bears hardly eat any meat. And I didn't even know that. So it was interesting. They did a special on black bears the other day, and they were saying that people didn't realize that they're not meat eaters. Even though they're classified as omnivores, they do eat meat. But percentage is extremely low. So interesting stuff when you sift through all this propaganda crap and stuff we're taught that just isn't true, and the theories and the ideas based off the theories. It's just created confusion everywhere. And so we really need to get down to what's factual and discard that which doesn't work. And there's a whole bunch of things we do that just doesn't work. I have a lot of people doesn't understand this, my friend. A lot of people don't understand the aloneness and stuff. But if you go back and you study the greats, the spiritual beings, the masters, whatever name you want to give them, even Jesus fasted for 40 days, took off on a journey into India. I mean, this guy, there's nothing new under the sun. And his predecessor, or actually before him, Enoch, same thing. So when you really take a look at the spiritual giants, they're doing exactly what you guys are doing. And they're taking time to isolate themselves from the outside world so they can get an inner perspective of what's real and what's not real. Because so much of the outside world takes your attention that you forget who you are. You forget who the director of the movie is. And you want to become the director if you want to have any fun and expansion of consciousness and just a far greater expression. There's no words to tell you. So that aloneness, and that's why I keep saying, find yourself a closet, or especially if you got a significant other, find yourself a place. I got an RV. I have to have a place for extreme aloneness, because it's through that essence of aloneness that you find reality. How funny that is. And it'll become evident to you as you go along here, because you're stripping yourself of all your attachments, and you're getting control of your mental thoughts. So no longer are you a victim of your thoughts, where you're chasing your thoughts, and that's where your consciousness is. You've pulled back from thinking, you've pulled back from desiring, and now you're free. And that expands you even more. Freedom expands your awareness. And the opposite is true. Material things can pull you right down to the material objects. Now when I interact with others out in the world whom I do not know and who do not know me, I'm always able to make a positive connection just through presence, without doing or saying much of anything. Because you're emanating that, my friend, and you know that already, Steve. You're emanating that love and the beauty of the presence, because you're becoming pure consciousness. And that is light, that is sound, that is beauty, and everything can feel that. So I love to read this one. I love that. It's quite pleasant. Thanks for sharing your understanding experience. Oh, thank you. Perhaps you could start a spiritual YouTube channel separate from the health practitioner. I might do that, Steve, in Colorado. I thought about that too, because I don't want to upset anybody. There's a lot of people that don't care about the spiritual side of life, and that's okay. You know, get your physical side taken care of, though, because if not, you'll just be the leaf blowing in the wind, a victim of allopathic thinking and what happens to those people. I mean, I'm hard on that group for a lot of reasons, guys, and it's just what we see here, and just what's going on out there with the kids and everything. This group has to radically change because it's building such bad karma. This planet will never have a chance to expand because everybody's creating such low-level karma. Like, holy crap. Ugh. Deidre, at 48, they say I have RA. That's rheumatoid arthritis. It is giving me terrible heart problems. Uh-oh. Look at that mucus. I still have a bunch. Damn. I know you don't believe in autoimmune, and I am becoming a huge fan of yours. Well, it's not about believing. There's no such thing. Autoimmune. What the hell is autoimmune? And everything, by the way, is autoimmune. No, it isn't. It isn't anything that your immune system isn't doing, which is your lymphatic system, that isn't based upon the response from what you're feeding it chemically-wise. You have to understand that your body responds simply by what you're putting in it. So if you don't like the response, change what you're putting in. You got to change the fuel source, and that's our problem. We've been eating wrong. It's been promoted to eat wrong, and therefore we're trapped in. Some people are trapped in. They're totally confused. They don't know who to believe in anymore. But take a look at this world, and I think you'll see that almost every country is a victim of this level of ignorance in health, and it has not made for healthy people, and it is made for a very violent and warring world. I mean, when a group of men can blow up a school of 140 children because they think that they'll be the future soldiers, I'm sure, so they're going to blow up these kids. You know, I don't care what level you are low stuff. I don't think this planet's worthy of that. I think there ought to be other planets for those beings that want to live at that level, because our levels are coming up. And it is vomitous to think the level of consciousness it would have to be at to blow up kids. I don't even want to know what that level's like. I don't want to visit it just to know it. I don't want to go there. Thank you for all that you do. What herbs would you suggest? I'm allergic to many trees and grasses along with soy. Well, you know, my feeling of soy is crap anyway. Anything like that's crap. You want living, breathing foods. You know, you want electrically alive foods, so chemically alive foods, and chemistry as nature puts it in there, with all the synergistic bonds and ratios as nature intended, not as man intended. Man, when you put yourself above something that creates all of this, it's frightening to me what could be the result of that. But when you're that allergic, allergies are all lymphatics. And all lymphatics also include the adrenals. So you've got to fix the adrenals along with the lymphatic system, because that's part of the lymphatic system. We can actually say the adrenals are part of several systems. But a big part of the lymphatic system, as it trips up and sits on the kidneys, the eliminative organs of cellular waste. So they're big deals here. And that's an area that sounds like obviously you have to work on. And if you keep listening to all these, it's quite obvious that all of us have lymphatic problems. And then that leads into the glands, and different people have different glands down and things like this. But RA is no different. Remember, we've talked about that in the last few videos, that 99.9, like I said, I've only had one RA case, and I've had hundreds, one RA case that didn't have sulfur. And we're using RA simply as a designation of systemic acidosis. We're not using it as we treat diseases, because that would be, we would lose our ability to help anybody. We would fall back into the idiocy of that level of thinking. So we have to be on point and accurate and factual and prove what we do. And of course, that's what we do. We prove that all the way down the line. I think that putting some stats together will help you to show you that nutrition is only a part of the puzzle. Proper elimination of the byproducts of the use of that chemistry is as vital as the burning of the chemistry. Because sooner or later, the lymphatic side will kill you. I see all these strong Constitution people come in here where their moms and the aunts, they lived into their 80s and 90s, died of a stroke or heart attack. And I'm thinking, oh, and I see real strong genes where their family members died in their 60s from strokes and heart attack. And I always tell them, you've got genes of well over 100-year-old people if you treat yourself right. But if you could have 100-year-old genes, have weak kidneys and adrenals a little bit, and end up dying from a stroke or heart attack because the body couldn't get rid of the wastes. That's simple. Something that simple. Also, ideas for pain. Good question. We use antispasmodic in our pain formula for mild to moderate pain. Outside of that, it's Aleve or something like that until you get these acids out of here. I would say use the Fast Track Alkalizer. That's baking soda, aluminum-free baking soda in a little water, a teaspoon, I think, per cup of water. Sip on that through the day. That'll help to bring alkalization. It's bicarbonate. You definitely want to get on all raw. I stay away from the acid fruits or anything acidic because they can set off, when you're already acidic that bad and you're in pain, acid fruits can exacerbate that. Even though they can clean you and everything else, they can exacerbate the pain sometimes. So see what you could deal with the fruits, subacid to sweets, and then maybe some green drinks and stuff. But you got to get your kidneys opened up. If you're like everyone else with the RA, you have sulfur. Get a picture of your eyes. See if you see any orange sulfur in there. If you do, you know a couple of things. You know, one thing, you have high fungal problems, and they're leaving a lot of uric acid in your body, so you got to get rid of the fungus. And then the uric acids and all the other acids, of course. The other thing to this, getting the sulfur out. And it just takes a while. I would definitely be on the GI broom, keep myself raw, and really move this out. I wouldn't, of course, when you're in pain, what's the one type of food you do not want to consume when you're in pain? I heard you over there, Sarah. Proteins. Proteins. You don't do proteins when you're in pain. Give yourself this little experiment. If you're in pain, spend a week or two on all raw until the pain, pretty much you got control of that. Then go out and have your protein meal and you tell me how you feel. I've used that experiment on a lot of people to prove my point. And it's something you can prove on yourself. You don't have to believe me. I stopped the steroids and low-dose chemo. You know, I don't know if you're the one I read here, the last video or two, but you have to understand why I am so passionate about this, because I love all creation. I'm a God lover extreme. I am sent on these type of journeys. A lot of us are. So I'm an extreme God lover in every sense of the word. And when I see the individual expressions of God so lost and willing to give Drano to an individual here that has RA, I think they should march those guys to jail and let them sit there and contemplate their navel for a while. I shall do no harm. Because if you're a medical doctor and you're giving chemo to anybody, your head's messed up. You're messed up. You don't give acids at these levels to anything, not even an animal. That would be considered cruelty. And of course, it would eventually kill them. So when I see medical doctors doing stuff like this, they are totally being channels for the negative forces. And they got to be stopped because they can't continue to do stuff like this and get away with it. And you bought into it because you took it. And taking the steroids, of course, here's the beauty of this. First, they give you high acids, and they have to give you steroids to buffer it. So the very gland that can help you with acidosis, the adrenals, they're giving you extra steroids to shut it down. And then the acid on top of acids. I mean, when you're taking a 1.5 pH acid on top of a 3 pH acid, you're what, 50 times hotter? So the chemo is 50 times, the pain you feel in RA, you allowed them to give you a chemo that 50 times, at least 50 times hotter than the pain you're feeling. It's insanity, guys. It's insanity. And there will be retribution, it's just karma, it's how it is. And not my world, it's how it's set up, I guess, but let me tell you, you don't do stuff like that. And until they get it, who cares if they get their britches suit off? You can't continue to do idiocy stuff like this. And then live in your elitist intellectualism that you think everything you do is above everyone. I mean, where you see how trapped that modality is in itself? And then you got a renegade FDA out there supporting that. And the toxic chemicals that are killing people and harming people by the millions worldwide, these people are supporting that. I don't know. It's insanity. Maybe this is truly an insane asylum like that one movie. And of course, Planet Earth is where all of us go. It is crazy. Because I have to be crazy if I buy into that crap. My God. But now the pain is unrelenting. I know it is, sweetheart. I know it is. What do you think about alkaline water, colonic irrigation, and medical marijuana? All right. Alkaline water. Don't take more than 8.5 pH water. Go to the bicarbonate, sodium baking soda. I'd go to that. Aluminum free. Colonics, you can have one or two. Don't too many, you'll innervate your bowels. You don't need that. We're cleaning that real good if you're on the herbs. If you're not on the herbs, go have a couple. Medical marijuana. As long as you don't smoke it. All right? As long as you don't smoke it. If you smoke it, combustion is acidic. Remember I told you about the beautiful wedding ceremony in India one time? They had a beautiful tent, huge tent full of about 100 women and children. All the beautiful gowns and colors and flowers, just so beautiful. India is so beautiful in that way. And the tent caught fire. In less than 3 minutes, I think 50 women and children died in that. They acidified their blood faster than their blood could steal calcium out of its walls, and they died from acidosis. And that's just common stuff. Don't smoke it if you can help it. Vaporize it or get a cookie, brownie, whatever. Or pills or whatever. But you don't want to smoke it. That's very acidic. I am mostly raw vegan for 3 months now. I would go all 100% raw with accentuating the fruits and the berries so you can clean your lymph. But at the same time, stay away from the citruses right now unless you can tolerate them. I'd stay away from the acid fruits, for sure. Because anything that's a little acidic is going to exacerbate pain, because pain is a sign of acidosis. You get relieved when you're alkaline. So that's why you can use the baking soda, a little bit of free baking soda. You can use, your fruits and your berries and your melons and your green drinks and stuff like that to help alkalize you. But you have to think, I also not want to get hydrated properly. I want to be able to filter these acids out so I no longer have the diagnosis from that group of RA that I no longer have acids building up in my interstitial tissues, and I'm feeling good and healthy again. It's helping me with, let's see, I'm mostly raw for 3 months now. It's helping me with energy, but not with the pain. Yeah, you have systemic pain, and my guess, if you're like the other RA cases I've been working with, again, you have high sulfur. You've got to get all that out of you. So try to buffer whatever pain you can with what you can. At the same time, hit it. Go get the herbs. Get on the kidneys. Get on the lymphatic herbs. Get on these things. We do have inflammation joints. Inflammation joints I do use for RA or any other systemic pain, and inflammation joints is an anti-inflammatory. So very helpful, along with the antispasmodic and pain formula. All three of those would go good. Be better than taking a leave or something. But you don't want to sit there with too much pain either, because that's debilitating as well. So that's a tough way to go. But keep hitting this hard. Keep digging in and detoxing hard. Get on your kidney formulas, lymphatic formulas, get on something for your adrenals. And because you've been on steroids, you wreck your adrenals, and it just makes everything worse. So you got to get those adrenals up. And I personally would take adrenal 400s, a glandular, and get my adrenals rocking faster to help me with steroids, to help my own body with my own steroids. Thank you, sweetheart. Enjoy and light. I like that. P.S. I have a longer letter with my blood work and pics of my eyes for your review. Where can I email it that to? Thank you in advance. Well, send it back to Chris, and let him just say I wanted to see it, and then I'll when I come to it, I'll go over it. Oh, this is a big thank you. Wow, that's pretty good. TMJ. Oh, wow. Occlusion and bite issues. Breaking teeth while chewing. Oh, Lord of mercy. God, just look at all the problems that are out there that people are living with. I just feel so so sorry for everyone that's, hurting so much like that. Thank you for all your love and help. You've got it every day, man. You've got it. Your wisdom and knowledge and everything. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that so much. I'm a little rowdy bastard sometimes, but you know what? The suffering man has experienced under certain health modalities is unexcusable now. We're all waking up. We all beginning to see truth now, and so lies can't go on anymore, because we're shining our flashlights on them again. So the roaches run when you find flashlights on them, don't they? The criminals run. You watch what's coming. I would be very happy if you could read my letter and help me with some advice, because I suffer a lot. I'm devastated and feel so sad. Oh, no. What's wrong, man? Oh, this is Lulia? Lulia? Is that right? Is that an I or an L-U-L-I-A? Oh, country boy. Not real good pronouncing. Oh, my name is Julia. I am a member and also a recent client. Oh, yeah, Julia, female, 27 years old. Hi, honey. I have a big problem with my TMJ, all right? Now, I can't chew my food properly. If I choose to chew, I choose to break my teeth because my jaw moved to the left and my occlusion and bite are off. My teeth started to break since January. Only recently I found out why and was diagnosed with TMJ. I have a lot of other issues because of this particular joint, but this problem with my teeth and not being able to chew my food breaks my heart. Okay, so let's stop right there. Where do you guys think this young lady needs to go? Parathyroid. Make sure it's not a pituitary too. Look at your height and your menses and stuff like this. But you've got to, if you're breaking teeth and everything else, I know the stress factors, but the reason for the TMJ in the first place, you got to work on your parathyroid gland. You work on your parathyroid gland and you start cleaning your lymph system. You get your acids out of your body, get your lymph moving out of your head area and everything else, so your body can rebuild the jaw and replace it. Rebuild it, realign it, and heal it up stronger. It'll do that. But you got to fix that parathyroid, because your teeth are also probably brittle too. So, and you're going to see other things happen this way. Bruising easy, maybe a little unhappiness or depression, maybe some varicose veins, spider veins coming, cramping too much. A lot of things like that can start creeping in. But you want to fix that parathyroid gland. And you want to detox, detox, detox. Get your body out there. Make your body put this in. And I would take the parathyroid. I myself would do 1-3 times a day with the Bones formula at 2-3 times a day. It'd be what I'd be doing to really kind of give myself some regeneration here. At the same time, I'm looking back to my parents and everybody else. Why do I have TMJ? Why would I have a parathyroid? Because why would I be losing my skeletal what's the word I want? Skeletal health. And you're going to go back to, of course, acidosis and that sort of thing, but also you want to check that parathyroid. Now, why would the parathyroid be down? Well, you hear all that mucus I'm pulling out of my bronchi and stuff? Thyroid, parathyroid become full of that too. You know, full of acidosis and inflammation like everything else. Everything's tied to the same. Everything's tied together. Nobody sits out there alone by itself. Except God. I have a big okay, it's been 2 weeks since I only juiced my food and I was not ready for juice fasting. Oh, well, excuse me. I've lost a lot of weight. I weigh now 79 pounds. Jesus. Well, it's enough to say that, are you malabsorbed? Probably isn't even in the picture. You're probably very malabsorbed, honey. And add this to why the TMJ. So again, when you start seeing malformation of joints and everything else, I mean, you got to look at genetics, of course, but you also have to go back to why. Even in genetics, what causes the deterioration or mutation of cells and their consciousness? And of course, physics. Physics is simple. All life seeks a homeostasis. So when you bring in a world of chemistry that's out of harmony with nature's chemistry and your body's chemistry, you expect the things to go awry, don't you? And just like we were talking about with the babies, we've been eating out of concepts from organizations that are created from special interest groups. We're not eating out of facts. That's the problem. And then we depend upon these associations to have the truth and honesty and to help us with our nutrition. It doesn't work that way. Everything's tied so much together with the allopathy. They've done a great job of tying everything together, but it's got a brutal blowback on them. It just can't keep killing humans over idiocy of things you don't know about. And health is not something that the AMA knows anything about. Not their field. They treat symptoms with pharmaceuticals, period. Good surgeons do great jobs. Good ER docs do great jobs. That to me is another branch. That to me is true allopathy. These other GPs, oncologists, are you kidding me? They're dangerous. Extremely dangerous. I know I have this issue because I have a lot of stagnant lymph in my head area. Hair loss, see? Absolutely. Chronic rhinitis, gums disease, there you go. You're so acidic that everything's getting dehydrated and brittle on you. So you're cracking teeth and everything else on it. So you want to hydrate. Hydration is a base balance experience which comes naturally when you eat fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables. It's just that fruits, berries, and melons are your detoxifying foods, and that's the level you need to get at. Because you got to get the head going, you got to get cold and flu-like symptom going, get your sinuses draining, and get all this cleaned up so we can rebuild that. But at the same time, I would force that through there with the parathyroid and the Bones formula myself. And you might have to revisit using that a couple of times through the next 6 months or so. See, you have teeth problems, gum problems, chronic tonsillitis, chronic laryngitis, Hashimoto's, cervical spondylitis, swollen lymph nodes. You see what I'm saying, sweetheart? You are loaded with acidosis. All this is just acidosis. And you can fix all of this. And you're going to want to fix all this because you're a young woman. So you want to fix all of this. And this is all just acidosis. and you're probably full of mucus. So you got to get your kidneys filtering, just like we've been talking about on all these videos. You got to get your adrenals up. You got to get your bowels cleaned out so all this can start draining out, and you'll fix all of this stuff. All of this stuff's very fixable, very fixable. And recently, TMJ-related issues, ear pain. You see what I'm saying? This is just you can just deteriorate everything. You want to pull the plug on this level, pull the plug on this, and start rebuilding your body. And you have to. You have to take the time, sweetheart, and get in there and get your lymph moving, and you check your pituitary too, because you might see the lower thyroid, the lower parathyroid because of that. So you check your monthly cycles. If they're irregular or you're a little short, you might consider that. Get a picture of your eyes, take a look up there, a little past 12 on the right, to the right of 12 on the right eye, to the left of 12 on the left eye. Take a look and see if there's a lacuna there. All these, you got bone pain, joint pain. Boy, I don't like any of this stuff. I don't like any of this stuff. It shows you are extremely acidic, honey. And nothing good, obviously, comes out of this level of acidosis. So you have to turn your whole life around and start alkalizing yourself. Start hydrating yourself interstitially. And only the foods can do it. All the herbs will help move everything out, promote, and enhance and stuff like that. But your foods are a huge part of this deal. And be 100% raw for sure. Nothing cooked whatsoever. Short food history. Vegan since November last year. High raw, high fruit since May this year. And 100% raw and high fruit since September. Exactly what I'm talking about. Hang in there for the ride, because you have to work your body back out of this. But you've got inflammation head to toe. And I mean deep in your body here. And I don't like any of that. Of course, there's nothing good ever comes of that. So if you have fairly good adrenals, you might keep yourself from plaquing cholesterol for a little while, but boy, and pulling out too much calcium out of these tissues is what's happening. You're losing calcium, you're not even putting it back, and chances are you burning your lipids or using your lipids as well. So you're getting occluded while you're getting dehydrated. So you want to fix all this up, sweetheart. You wrote me a 14-week protocol. I completed the first 2 weeks of September, then needed to stop because my herbs were retained at customs and other border. Oh, friggin' customs. And other order got lost. I'm waiting for all of this to clear up. After 2 months, I am still waiting. What the hell? I'll have them look into it. I'm sure they are. Well, unfortunately, we have no control over customs, and I apologize. If anybody has the financial wherefore, somebody in each country needs to stock up big time so people can order from you. And people can, can work that out where there can be stock for people in different countries, because I don't like anybody waiting 2 months that's in trouble here, trying to get their herbs and stuff just to help them out. That's not good. I have little to no energy. I'm sure your adrenals are a mess. You know what? I can barely think, I'll bet. And this is not good. You want to get, by the way, sweetheart, I do upper circuit, brain, and nerve while you're doing all the other herbs. I do upper circuit, brain, and nerve with what's going on here. That'll promote better blood flow up to all the tissues in the head. Plus, it'll also promote neural regeneration. And I would definitely want to do this while you're so acidic and being suppressed. Because all of this highly acid stuff is just breaking you down. Breaking your body down. Not you, your body down. Sad stuff, isn't it? I have low blood pressure figured. Get this. 79 to 85 over 50, both arms. Hell, that's frightening low. That's what I would expect the new babies coming in with would be. And you're 27? Whew, damn. Adrenal 400s, glandulars, I wouldn't even mess with herbs for that for a while. I'd hit the glandulars. And I would definitely hit the 400s, and I'd probably pop 2-3 times a day. Because that kind of blood pressure, that's extremely low neurotransmitters. Well, take a look at this. The same gland produces all your steroids. So, is it not a a stretch to look and say you're probably extremely low in your steroids is 2, meaning you're low in mineral utilization, your blood sugars. With a low blood pressure like this, you sure you ain't having hypoglycemic issues as well? Because, I mean, you're really low here. This is really low. So I wouldn't doubt if your pituitary might be sitting down on even the adrenals. I want you to check that for me. My God, that's low. I don't like the 50 either. That shows your kidneys are weak. I know what I have to do and why I have all the issues. I see your videos and listen to them. Wouldn't it nice you at least know what you have to do? I mean, that's at least a step up, guys. Because before, she could have gone to 1 million medical doctors. None of them have a friggin' clue. Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, most of you are lay people cheering up all these people. And you got a med student, 6 to 10 year med student, that can't help anybody regenerate themselves. They can only treat with pharmaceuticals. Now the newer youngers, they definitely have one eye open to natural healing. There's no question with that. I have some friends that are medical doctors that are younger and they're into the natural side, and I love those guys. But we have to break down this narcissism and this elitism and this idealism that somebody's better than another because they went to a particular school to get educated in a particular modality. Unfortunately, what a waste of money for that particular modality, because the world is going to change drastically coming in. That modality is going to go through some drastic changes. You can't keep giving chemo for everything. I mean, it's just beyond insanity. It's out of control criminals that never were chastised or brought into control for what they've done. They've never been disciplined. They've never been anything. Remember I told you about the 60-minute special on medical doctors that kill too many people, and the head of the medical associate, head of the AMA said, let buyer beware. Who cares? Basically. This is the kind of people are running to for their health problems and dying from them. I mean, you see it constantly. Victim of all. In Florida, one of the worst problems we have are drivers. So many people drive in the fast lane down here. They drive slow in the fast lane. Then they forget their education. So we finally had to pass a law, but the cops don't do anything about it. So we have a lot of road rage. You see it every day down here because man is so acidic. He's walking around in a stupor. Some of these older people are walking around in a stupor. I just want to smack them and say, won't you get your health together? You're walking around in a stupor. You're an insult to your age. You sit there and throw in ice cream and dead animals and everything else, and you want people to feel sorry for you because you're losing your back, you're losing your kidneys, you have this, a stroke, and this and this. You hold the power, each and every one of you hold the power to regenerate yourselves. The unfortunate part is these poor souls have never had the opportunity to be educated. And when they are, or when they hear about us, they go like this. No, I'm happy with my chemical medications, and I'm happy going to see nurses and doctors that care for me. You used to see that all the time in hospitals where people just love to be in a hospital. Total care, so they come in all the time. Now, what I don't know is what to do about this chewing problem. Well, I'll tell you what, sweetheart, I would probably go more to juices, but with the fiber in them as much as possible, maybe blend. And just let your saliva kind of digest a little bit in the mouth and then go down. Be very careful and keep yourself away from vegetables. Those are the hardest to chew there is. Look at the teeth of a herbivore. You ever see a horse's teeth and a cow's teeth are grinders? They grind because the cellulose is so strong. And their GI tract is 30 times the length of their spine. Ours is only 12. And we have shorter spines. So there's no comparison. If you go to do the greens, which it wouldn't hurt you to do some green drinks, especially with parsley, spinach, maybe some kelp or something. Maybe some superfood blend would be ideal for you since it's so high in calcium. and mix a little of that in a green drink and have a couple of green drinks a day would be okay with me. But you really got to move your lymph. You got to do this first, no matter what else you do. You can build and build and build later, but you'll see building under fruit, so you'll see what I'm talking about. But if you want to high power the body up, I guess you could with green drinks down the road. But you want to detox this, and you're going to have to use a glandular to get because your blood pressure is insane. And this is about where young people are, and there's no energy there. That's why she has no energy. At 79 to 85 systolic blood pressure, both sides, both adrenals are down. But I just still want you to check them. I'm getting this. Check your pituitary. So don't chew. And if you're going to chew, you get foods that are real easy and you take your time. Like your fruit fiber, real easy. And if your fruit's a little tough, chop it up or something. Blend it up. Juice it. You've got to get past this. But you need that high level to get past it anyway, honey. You got to get way up there to detoxify the body anyway. I need to chew and start to digest my food in the mouth since I have pancreatic weakness. Oh my God. Oh my God, you're a wreck. Weakness, and I am not being able to digest my food properly. Holy crap. Well, you said it, just what you have to do. I'm glad you're getting it on the videos. Smart woman here. Well, yeah, take your time, sweetie, and your meals are gonna take a little while. And you just do small amounts more often. Don't sit and try to eat a big meal, obviously. Sit yourself and have you a bowl of fruit and just take your time, walk around, do your thing, sit around, relax, and just little at a time. Gum it if you have to, but just work it out to where we can fix some things. Get on that pancreatic formula, fix that. You know, your own fruits anyway, simple to digest. Again, going back to babies, simple to digest. You don't overburden a newborn or even a 1 or 2 year old with heavy foods to digest. You certainly don't slip a piece of dead animal to your babies. I told you about that time I was in a restaurant and had to go to the bathroom, and I got up and there was a mother and her 4-year-old son. And she has this big salad in front of her, and he has a hot dog and french fries in front of him. And he's reaching over, trying to grab a tomato or something out of her salad. And she smacks his hand and says, Johnny, or whatever his name was, eat your hot dog. Well, I walked by just, and I was watching and listening to the whole thing. I bit my tongue because I wanted to say, honey, if you want that hot dog and french fries so bad, you eat it. Your son wants your salad. Oh, here's a mother that thought french fries and hot dogs were better for her son, but the salad she was going to make for herself. That didn't fit. I didn't get that. I didn't get that, because if there's anybody that thinks hot dogs and french fries is healthy for you, where you been living? What rock have you been hiding under? If you haven't seen some of these specials and these food factories and stuff like that, how they make these things, holy crap. Thank you for the great YouTube videos. Oh, thank you so much, sweetheart. I'm glad you're getting some, and you're going to have to take your time, back yourself out of this one. But at the same time, you get on that parathyroid, the bones. I mean, you got to get rebuilt, get your calcium utilization way up, get all these acids and inflammation out of your body, and you'll be okay, honey. What I don't know is what to do about this. Yeah, okay. Now I have a manual juicer and no blender. It's difficult. A manual juicer? Somebody buy this girl a juicer. You can get a Jack LaLanne, or you can get a real, at Bed and Bath, you can get with a 20% coupon, you can get one for $80. And you can probably get an Oster for a lot cheaper. You know? Now I wanted to buy a good juicer, but since I can no longer chew my food, I thought I could buy a blender instead. Well, you could. You know, blenders are a lot cheaper than juicers, I think. I don't know. I can't afford both. We'll just buy a cheap blender then. What is your advice regarding this issue? I like fiber and I like pulp, so blend. And then just let your saliva break it down. What should I choose? Okay. Should I see this as an opportunity to heal faster and drink only? I would. I would. Totally with that question. Good question. And I totally would, sweetheart. Are you kidding? When you got a problem like this, there's an old saying, balls to the walls. But I do. You're suffering too much. And you can't continue to have the jaw break down and everything break down. Man, you'll lose all your teeth, your bones. I mean, you don't want to go here. I don't like any of this. Yes, you do want to see it as an opportunity to use the astringent fruits. Absolutely you want to see this. And how interesting that you've made that statement. It shows you're a pretty aware gal. It's enough to say that if you don't do it, God will force you to. You ever notice that? It'll take you down to where you can't eat nothing. It's funny, but if you watch this, it's just nature saying, you don't want to do this? Well, you will show you. And it's like, oh, okay. That's why I listen. It's like, okay, because I've been forced to do a lot of things here by the powers that be. And so it just is, you know, I don't fight anymore. But I do that. Now I slow down detox with green juices. Yeah, but I would have one at least a day, I think, just to help support. But the parathyroid with the bones, think about the pituitary, go after the endocrine glands, go after your adrenals, your kidneys, get your lymph moving out of the head here, because you have a list of problems showing acidosis here. Everything you're talking about, and none of these things are good. Chronic inflammation in the tonsils and larynx, so you got all kinds of things going on. But it just shows you systemically acidic. You have a systemic fluid problem, which we call the lymphatic system. And your kidneys and adrenals are right there to blame. But that walk right up to your blood pressure, and it's like, oh my God, this poor gal has no blood pressure. So I can see where you're suffering, big time, big time. Too much, honey. Back out of this thing here, and I'll help you. Other issues I experienced lately are I stopped having regular menstruation since I went fully raw in September. I'm still throwing my money to your pituitary a little bit there, honey. I still am. Would be wise to incorporate in my protocol the female reproductive. Very wise. But I think it'd be wise, either the female reproductive formula or take the pituitary glandular. I would do 1 a.m., 1 p.m., one bottle. See what happens. And then follow up with a female reproductive. You don't have to do both at the same time. Save your money. Do the pituitary, and then after you're done with a bottle of that, that'll take you last you a month or two, and then with 2 capsules twice a day, and then go to the female reproductive. But you need to bring that into balance. But it's just showing that your glands are going down, you know, from all the inflammation. Since I started to only juice my food, I stopped having regular bowel movements since I took stomach compound number 2 or 3 instead of 1 for a while, because I already purchased some stomach compound number 1 formulas. Any advice about how to handle this situation? Yeah, I mean, try to get as much fiber as you can in there and kick it up to maybe a number 2. And I would do 2-3 times a day of the number 2, but at the same time, because that's plant, that's all plants and all fiber and stuff. And just a pinch of cascara, and so that'll help you. At the same time, you know, to follow with all that we're talking about here, and you too might want to try the Fast Track Alkalizer, where you're using some baking soda there for a little while, just to help alkalize you faster, because you're just so acidic, you're just losing calcium, and it sounds like you're not putting it back. So definitely think there's a parathyroid issue here. Catherine, what herbs would help my schizoaffective disorder? I probably first would, I would probably first go to the glandulars and always hit your glands for emotional and mental, what might be construed as emotional and mental issues. Go to your endocrine glands. Parathyroid, thyroid for depression, unhappiness, and lack of personality and self. Go to your liver for extreme anger problems. Go to your adrenals for emotions, inferior complexes, shyness, anxieties, and stuff like that. A lot of people have both. They have both the thyroid and the adrenals down. They're dubbed as bipolar and schizophrenics and stuff, but it's like, you got to go in and fix these. You can use flower essences like moonshine yarrow to help you with that. At the same time, get the fungus out of you too. Get all the fungus out of you, all the acids out of your body, get your glands up working, and you'll straighten right around. At least most of the people I told you about a case I had where I got him as far as I could, but he still loved to eat out of dumpsters. He enjoyed that. All right, this is Oregon. Jenny, I only have time for one more. I got a lot of long ones. Holy moly. Hello, lovelies at Dr. Morse's Clinic. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Everybody's trying their very best out there, let me tell you. Thank you, Dr. Morse, for all that you do. Well, thanks for listening. You know, I appreciate you guys, too, a great deal, because this is how we're going to effectively change a world that is sucking in on itself. There has to be the God people at any given time putting it out there. You can live in caves in India, you can do those things, but you're not affecting man like you need to. So, as a group here, this world needs this so bad. This is the shoe-in that we can help to raise the consciousness of the planet, because everybody needs to fix their bodies. Well, when you fix your bodies, it's a natural expression that your energy levels raise, your consciousness raises, everything raises, and it's like, oh, and then you pull yourself out of this mess. I learn something new every time I watch a video of yours. Thanks, I appreciate that. You know, I got a lot of things stored in here for a lot of years, guys, and sometimes you pull them out of me, and sometimes it's like this mother milk thing. Sometimes when I answer these, and then the next day or that night, I'm thinking, oh, I should have told him about this, and I should have told him about that, and I forgot to say this, and typical stuff, you know. I've had that all my life, because after every talk or lecture I do on spirituality or health, I'd always beat myself up. You forgot to say this. You forgot to do this, because I don't speak from reading. I speak from as it's flowing through me. So whatever comes through is coming through. I don't pretend to, because if you don't, you get accustomed to using your mind, and we're already accustomed to using the mind. We need to break that and to use it when we need it, but to stay conscious when we don't. We are much happier, better, feel more secure, fulfilled, more happy. I mean, everything you can imagine that goes with more God awareness, more life awareness, whatever you wish to call it. I hear everything that you say, and you always make me smile. So sometimes I get a little carried away and I get ramped, so I apologize for that. But sometimes when you see the amount of suffering that's going on at the hands of a modality that calls themselves health, granted, we're all eating the way we're taught and our parents and all that, but how we treat what that creates has been our huge problem. We have to change that, because you can only unwind what you're doing. You can't come in with other gnarly chemistry and expect to unwind generations of bad eating and genetics. It's not going to happen. There's not one herb you can take, there's not one supplement you can take, and obviously there's no pharmaceuticals to take. You have to rebuild. You have to clean your body out of all the residues of chemistry and all that implies from all the chemistry ingested through breathing, skin, drinking, all of this. Look at some of the stuff people drink. Cokes and Dr. Peppers and Pepsis and drinks that are neon in color and stuff like that. Can you imagine the chemistry? And yet you have medical doctors that don't realize people are putting in this chemistry from the moon. I like this. You are so right on track. I'm sick of being sprayed like a bug. Believe me, the spraying on the West Coast is heavy. I know it. I don't have the words to fully express my... Oh, well, thanks, sweetheart. I appreciate the thoughts. I really do. I love you guys, too. Like I said, I get a little passionate at times, but we have to wake up. You know, as a race, we just have to wake up. At least some of those that are... Well, to me, it just has to be a little upliftment going on here. That's what I'm told. So I don't know. I give you all the credit for me having my health again, and you can be damn sure I tell everyone I meet about it. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Well, I'm glad you got your health. And if you don't, go after it, because there's nothing like feeling good. I feel sorry for anybody in pain, in constant pain, sad stuff. And then the things they give you to treat it. When you wake up, it's like, what? Shocking. But I'm glad you're getting yourself back to well, Bill, because that's the only place to be. And we want to make sure anybody that's struggling, we can help them the best we can. It's tough. It's tough in the change of your consciousness because you have to change your diet. A lot of people have belief systems that have taught them things that weren't true, and so they have a hard time seeing truth through that. So there's all kinds of things, but there's one thing that changes everybody, and that's why it exists. Suffering. Hate it. See it everywhere. Hate it. I'm 32. I've had anxiety since I was very young, was on anxiety meds in my early 20s. I began having severe suicidal levels of insomnia, brain fog, heart racing, AFib, numbness, weakness, oh my God. Fatigue, dizziness, everything was so hard. Oh my God, honey, holy crap. And you know what? We see so much of this today, and it's like, oh, these poor souls. I had to pray every day on my way to work that I wouldn't crash my car. Isn't that sad, guys? When I went to urgent care for my AFib, the doc said that I was too bad. It was happening to someone so young, 27, and had nothing else to tell me. Other future doctors gave me the runaround, checking for all the autoimmunes like fibromyalgia and such. No answers to be found, just expensive appointments that led nowhere. Yeah, well, those of you guys with AFib, get your adrenals up and your parathyroids up. Left to my own devices, we were just talking about that earlier. I've been having meetings. I go around and have meetings with different of our employees that are doing different things. You know, see where they're at, what's going on, kind of keep abreast of everything as much as I can. We were talking about this, that the bottom line to life is you must become your own doctor. You must become your own doctor. It was a Hippocratean feeling. Hippocrates felt that, as he felt your medicine should be your food and your food should be your medicine. And yet we have a group that's willing to take the Hippocratean oath. Excuse me? I mean, it all is vomitous when you look at this and understand what's going on. Unfortunately, or fortunately, it's just unconsciousness, and we just have to infuse it with life and consciousness. That's all that is. And souls buy into that, and they get lost in that. Some like the feeling of being elitist and narcissistic. And until they learn that's not appropriate, and that no one likes that, they will carry that. You know, this is how God develops itself. Left to my own devices, I realized that much trial and error, that I was anemic and malabsorbed, among other things. In other words, your lymph system went down. I tried paleo diet, naturopathic doctor advice. For a year, but then started having seizure-like symptoms and even ended up in the ER thinking I was dying. That's what eating dead animals does, no kidding. And the high phosphorus and iron, the things that make you even more acidic, stupid stuff, food that putrefies, makes you stink, dead tissue, stagnant blood. I mean, it's just cooked tissue. And we think that's healthy over a fruit or a berry or a melon or a vegetable? I don't get that. If you like it, okay, for the taste. But don't make claim that it's somewhere good for you, because that'd be a lie. I heard of you via word of mouth 7 months ago. Oh, wow. I always avoided fruit due to fear of sugar and always having blood glucose issues. Well, you knew your adrenals were down anyway. I put myself on a grape diet for 5 weeks. and had a surge of energy and mental capacity with no blood sugar issues at all. Yeah. Oops, excuse me. I had a salad for lunch this big. Oh, it just shows you solids don't digest like my fruits. Eh. Wow, honey, you've done good. I did a colon cleanse with bentonite. I stopped taking vitamins and began herbal tinctures for kidney, adrenals, brain, anemia, etc. I juiced cilantro. Childhood memories kept coming back to me with more clarity than ever, and childhood has always been a blur to me. Wow. Is that not cool? I love the... Ooh. What's that? Twerking? You did good. But that's what this is all about. Feeling good again, getting your health back, and then soaring in consciousness. Whatever you plan to do with that. Fun stuff. Although things aren't perfect, keep going. I feel better than I've felt my whole life. It's been so long since I've been able to get through the whole day with mental energy. I can turn the radio station and drive at the same time. Oh my God. That's how bad some people are, guys. They barely make it to work. They have to work to make a living. They barely make it there, and there's so much pain and discomfort and nothing going on upstairs. They're so acidic and full of mucus and fungus. And they struggle at their works, and they struggle to get home, and then they have their nights. And you see, it's a shallow, horrible life for souls that are so magnificent as you guys. All beings are magnificent if they just realize their divinity. And that's just what you have to do. And you don't recognize your divinity when you're in pain, crouched in fetal position, as the acids are ripping you apart. So the only solution is get rid of that which is ripping you apart, and those are acids. That is the lymph, that is cell waste, and you just have to get the kidneys filtering and clean all this sewage out and all the chemicals they gave you trying to treat the symptoms that brought. Make sense? I feel like a kid again, and I'm focusing 2015 on shedding all sick behavior patterns because I am not a sick person anymore. Oh. You've got my blessings, dear one. Really, good job, good job. I'm about 75 to 25 in the wintertime. Well, not bad, not bad, it's wintertime. I love how you guys are understanding this whole thing. And yes, we have our ups and downs. Nothing's perfect. Yes, 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 yes. But we're good at what we do, aren't we? We are good at what we do. And we know truth. And you guys are a blessing to this planet, and I hope this planet recognizes you guys someday as you all help people and get your lives well and others well. Because it's not that difficult. It doesn't take that long, considering lifetimes of suffering. So, what the hey? Thank you for this. I appreciate that. It's nice to hear people's testimonials because we hear everything is so bad with so many people. Oh, there's one. Okay. Boy, I have so many guys, but I have all week. I'm taking my Christmas vacation. I'm doing all videos and trying to catch up with you guys. But at least I'm not eating meat, which actually gives me shortness of breath. How interesting. Yeah, no kidding. Irregular heartbeat and tightness in the chest, a.k.a. Near cardiac event. Yeah, well, you see the meat. Yeah, and just vibrationally speaking, you're talking about dead tissue. So vibrationally, here you're a pure being of light and beauty and love, and you're putting something, dead tissue that putrefies in your body. Okay. Dairy or gluten, and then I'm doing okay for now. If I have to ask a question, then it would be, if I do my 70-25 in the wintertime and do a great fast every spring with maybe a little master cleanse, will my kidneys actually start filtering? Yes, but you want to work through the winter with your kidneys. If you're not filtering, keep working on them. Use the kidney formulas. Do your 75-25. Use the kidney formulas and maybe one lymphatic formula. And keep working on your adrenals. Keep working with that. And just keep bringing yourself deeper and deeper into Wellville until you feel so good you can't stand yourself. I'm taking dandelion tincture and adrenal herbs and an occasional nip of a pig glandular Too much gives me severe adrenaline rushes. Yeah, I'll be careful with that then. Now, these are strong, but you're working yourself back to well. And when that's too strong, just flip over to the herbal, either adrenal or endocrine glands. But my pee is still clear. Use 2 kidney formulas. Go after that. If that doesn't do it, just get yourself up on a 5-day lemon juice fast. See if that'll help do that. Or go to the kidney glandular and take the kidney glandular 1 bottle. See if that'll shake them loose a little bit. But keep working on those kidneys to get them filtering, dear one. I figure I'm just working out. Yeah, I'm just working it out. This is Jenny from Oregon. Thank you, sweetheart. I really love that. And with that, I'm going to have to close because I got to run, go get some oranges, because I'm out of oranges for tonight and tomorrow. But I'm going to go over this. Let me do this last one. Robert, I highlighted some key points, but this very sweet lady wanted to have this on YouTube, Megan. All right. I guess I can read this one then, okay? This is from Roxanne. Roxanne! Did you see who won The Voice last night? I predicted, 3 months ago who was going to come down to the final 2, and they did, and I predicted who was winning, and he did. I tell you, I love his voice. And when he sang with Lynyrd Skynyrd, I thought he was better. He's got that Lynyrd Skynyrd voice. Oh my God, this guy is kick-ass. I'm so glad he won. I liked them all, you know, but I'm so glad he won. That was really good. If you're reading this, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I was raised on the SAD, Sad American Diet. But I love fruit and vegetables, so I hope I am on the better late than never train. You are on the better late than never train. Welcome aboard. You know what? We're going to Wellville. And Wellville is a high level of fruits, berries, and melons with some vegetables. A good train to be on. Of course, we use herbs to detoxify the body and get your body into that train station. My history, starting with most recent. I am on oxygen 2 liters. Must be a COPDer here. Full-time because I have Bird's Keeper's lung, a.k.a. hypersensitivity pneumonitis. I had parrots for over 15 years. Yeah, I was hospitalized with diagnosis of congestive heart failure in March 2014. So, key word, congestive. Key word, congestive heart failure, CHF. Key word is congestive. Pull that back over to your bronchioles and your lungs. See the same thing going on? Because this is a systemic problem. You know, when your lymphatic system's down, you have systemic problems. And it's systemic acidosis. Or we could say systemic inflammation or systemic itises. And, you know, both of these kill people, which was caused by pulmonary hypertension. But what caused pulmonary hypertension? Occlusions, blockages of what system? The lymph system. There's no blood pressures. These are lymph pressures. And lymph pressures, they're gnarly because they're acidic. They're acid pressures. An open lung biopsy and more blood tests. Open lung biopsy. And they really needed to do that? You know what's stupid? Because these are like children at play. They just have this passion to hurt me. Don't tell me they don't. I need a little lung tissue. How pleasant is that? Why in the hell would you need a piece of lung tissue when there's only 2 sides of chemistry, there's only 2 major fluids in the human body, and everything else is cells? Chemistry is chemistry. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. We all know that. Do you really need to go take biopsies of tissues and hurt people like that? And especially when you do biopsies of tumors. You ladies never get biopsies. Who cares if they're cancer cells or not in a tumor? You're going to get rid of the tumor irregardless. Because nobody wants tumors. And if they wrap around tissue, you can expect that acid's going to destroy those cells. But of course, so what? Simply got to reverse how you created a tumor. But if you try to treat the tumor or break it open and spill all that acid back interstitially, you can create a roaring lion that sometimes I've had a hard time fixing. Fast enough, That area is already compromised. The body's isolated there, trying to protect the surrounding tissue. Why would you go in and invasively do this? I asked a surgeon who's a brother of a friend of mine who's an osteopath in Chippewa, Indiana. Why do you biopsy tumors when you know that it then creates a serious problem for the female or whoever? Remember I told you his response was simple. 3 words. It's my job. Well, don't do your job anymore then. Bad karma is bad karma. Okay. And more blood tests than I can count in April 2014 to come to the diagnosis above. They also did numerous scans, of course. La-da-da-da-da. You wouldn't have had to go through any of this. Just put yourself on a detox, get your kidneys filtering, get all this out. You would have never had to go through it, but you didn't know about it. And that's exactly why I'm doing these videos and why I love every one of you that are out there helping others get well. Because this poor soul, just like a lot of other people, I ran through the insane asylum of the allopathy. Well, we got to get a piece of tea. We got to see what it is. See what it is. You already know what's there. Jesus criminy. They also did numerous cancer protests before the open lung biopsy I also had a heart cath where they go in through. No, I'm very familiar with heart caths. That's where I worked for years. Not the cath lab, but nuke and cardiopulmonary. And you could have stroked having that. You know, it's funny. They all this, going through all this, and it's easy. All you had to do is take a picture of her eyes. You would have seen the problem. No invasive procedure, no pain and suffering to the patient. You had to detox them, got her out of this, had a well patient, they had to give you a kiss and a hug, and no bad karma. But no, that's not what they do. And others, I forget the percentages now, but I've had several cases of strokes post-cath. To check the pressure to make sure I was okay for the open heart biopsy. I was, and in a, oh my God, where someone my age 50 at that time would have, I don't. So I guess that's a good thing. I am overweight by about 80 pounds at this time, but I have lost about 60 already prior to here. So 80 more or so to go. Well, you know your adrenals are down and probably your thyroid is too, man. You know, when you get that much overweight, then you're battling your thyroid, which is the rate of metabolism. And when you're low thyroid, your metabolism is low, meaning that one meal will last you for a day or two. And then your adrenals, of course, sugar metabolism. And then that starts the whole fungal starch syndrome. And we just suck down the starches and the cheeses, and then we put on the fat, and it gets out of control. My initial pulmonologist is no longer in town, but she said the damage cannot be repaired. You know, I love that. This would have been a smarter pulmonologist had they said, we can't help you, maybe someone else can. But they make it so definitive, as if they're the only ones that have any idea about what's wrong and how to fix it. That's crap. And that's just what you see all the time. I don't care how nice they are. Terrible what they put you through. Didn't even have to. I have since been switched to a new pulmonologist who said I have irreversible interstitial lung disease. Interstitial what? Lung disease. Well, let me see. Interstitial means what? Around the cells, right? It's all interstitial. It's just they're starting to get used to that now. So they're using interstitial cystitis, interstitial this and that. It's all interstitial. What's interstitial in your body? What's around the cells? Floods. What two fluids do you find interstitially? Blood and lymph. But what's the dominant fluid in the interstitial fluid? Thank you. Lymph. Sure, you have a lymphatic problem interstitially. Do you call that a disease? See where I'm going with their little dirty tricks? Because the damage to the alveoli and sacs can never be reversed. That's bullshit. And we'll be on O2 the rest of my life. And I'm 51. Don't buy into that crap. You repair and rebuild your tissues, honey. Excuse me. Get this stuff out like I'm getting out. Get all this mucus out of your bronchi, your lungs, your sinuses. Get your kidneys filtering so all the interstitial levels will hydrate and come clean. You're on your raw foods. You get on the raw foods. That'll hydrate you as you're moving. So you'll hydrate interstitially. You'll move the lymph system out of the heart so the CHF will come out of there. See what I'm saying? These are very fixable things. But they can't fix anything. So anything is not fixable. You could take something like oxygen the rest of your life while you sit there and wither away because no one told you the truth, and therefore you're just going to go downhill and die in your 60s maybe. Nah, you're going to turn all that around, aren't you? You are, sweetheart. Turn it all around, rebuild your tissues, rebuild your lungs. You're going to have some expectoration of stuff. I don't want to be on O2 the rest of my life in this, and you don't have to be. I have felt from the very beginning that this could be healed, and you're absolutely right. Somehow or some way it is possible. The body heals itself like this. They don't understand that because people that come to them are always highly acidic. Those people that learn the truth never go back, or rarely go back, so they don't know because no one ever told them. But I have plenty of medical doctors that were told by their patients what they did to get well, and they just blew them off. What kind of medical doctor does he suppose that one is? I'm happy with my level of lack of understanding. Thank you. 4 years ago, I was misdiagnosed with polycythemia, blood oxygen levels upon my first visit to the oncologist. Oncologists were 77. Your O2 sat was 77. That's horrible. You want your O2 saturation to be at least 98. You can find these little O2 saturation little devices, stick them on your finger. But you want 98, 99. You start getting down in the 97s, 96s, 95s, that's not good. And you were 77. Whew, not good. They now know the polycythemia, which the test for the J2 gene, and it came back negative, was a secondary result of not enough oxygen. My veins were small, so they couldn't do normal phlebotomies, so they did them every 3 weeks. I know, I tell you what. I used to be able to start an IV, and you hardly knew I stuck you. That was always my goal, to start an IV where you didn't even know I was sticking you. Every time I get stuck, they hurt, and they blow through the vein. I mean, there's 300 cc's at a time using butterfly needles, whoa, out of the veins in my hands. And that's small. Ouch. All along it was low oxygen, but I didn't know any better, and they are the MDs. They're supposed to be educated, supposed to know. Huh, that's right. That's the biggest lie and joke ever. I told you. 6 years ago, I had what I called a hot flash. Went to the emergency care clinic where they did an EKG. It came back abnormal. I was in order to have a nuclear stress test. Oh, that's always fun. That's why I'm wearing glasses today, is nuclear medicine. That's your little crossbones and skulls. You're too pretty for that. Good news is that I wouldn't die of a heart attack, so they said, but my blood pressure skyrocketed during the test, and it was awful. Yeah, and they put nuclear medicine in you, my dear. We used to use thallium, that was too toxic, so I don't know what they use now. But it lights you up like a Christmas tree so they can do the scan. I'm way over my time. Okay. I had pneumonia for a year, all of 92 through 93. Okay, so she's going back. And you see that her lungs were already full of mucus and probably interstitially backed up lymphatically back then. So you can see, as time has gone, scarring and all that has broken down these sacs and stuff. And that's just how it is. You know, and you just have to clean all that out and let the body rebuild this stuff. That's all you can do. The right place at the right time led me to your teachings, your videos, and your books, and I just placed a rather large wallet, choking. Oh, well, that's not my goal, honey. Insofar as make payments for a few months, order for herbs to help me heal. Well, make sure you get the right ones, and that's not our goal, is to take anybody's pocketbooks. Our goal is to get you well, through whatever way we can. I'm reading your book. I am watching the vids as I can, and I am trying to educate myself so I can heal. You want to use the 3-lung tea. You want to use lungs number 2 on top of your kidney formulas, your adrenal formulas, your lymphatic formulas. Get everything moving. Get everything opened up. But get that lungs 2 and the 3-lung tea and drink that periodically. I wouldn't overdrink it. I wouldn't overdrink liquids, and I wouldn't overdrink water. Right now, you're so acidic, honey, you could fill up with edema even more. And that's not good either. So remember, guys, when you're faced with a highly acidic person and they're a lunger, where they're on O2, whatever the diagnosis is, don't let them drink water. Because too much water can fill up the lungs and the heart and compromise this patient even much more. Not good. So you have to be somewhat metering, although it's the juicy fruits, the watery fruits, that are the detoxifiers. So just find yourself a balance, sweetheart. I know you're being helped here, and just they'll work with you there. Oh, look at here. I have the Heal All tea, the 3-lung tea. I ordered the Fab 4 adrenal gland and what was on the cell, lymphatic system caps, GI broom, parasite GNM, enough for a month of each. Kidney and bladder capsules, formula 1 and 3, good deal. I do not know what all to do or how to do it. Well, you take a dropper full of each one of the tinctures 3 times a day, and 2 capsules 3 times a day of the capsules. 3 times a day of the capsules, and 1 whole dropper full of the tincture 3 times a day. Put them all down together if you want, and you can put them with food if you want. I have included pictures of my eyes, but I fear they are not good enough. But pray they are good enough starting place. I feel so blessed, even though I'm clear across the country in Oregon, to know you. Well, same here, sweetheart. Thank you, Dr. Morris. With all my thank you too, Roxanne. Let's take a look at these eyeballs, guys. See the red? See around the pupil, the GI tract. You got that real brown, could be orange. Yeah, these are way out of focus. You got a good up close picture, but they're way out of focus. Look like you took them in the bathroom or something. You'll see 3 lights above. Too much reflection. Get a flashlight on the corner here and shine in where it lights up this whole thing. But you got plenty of light at this picture. You just got to get your camera in focus because it's just out of focus. All that brown you have around your pupil is your GI tract. So that's either sulfur, or if it's brown, it's chronic bowels. And that, of course, just starts filling everything up, branches off a tree, right on up to the head area. Now, you've got a right hip going on. You got a little pancreatic weakness going on there. It's probably lower rib right side. Could be our elbow, but looks more like the lower rib cage on that side. On this lower bronchial trunk going into this lower lung here, that's where you got some problems going on there. You've got a lot of inflammation in there and some breakdown of the tissue. So it's in your lower lobe. And I'll do another thing. When you breathe, don't shallow breathe. You take that oxygen down in abdominally instead of thoracically. You breathe this way first instead of this way. You breathe out here first. Put your hand on your tummy, so to speak, your abdominal muscle, and you breathe, and you move it up and down as you breathe without moving your shoulders. And then you feel both, but feel your lower lobes. You've got to get into that lower lobes. If I go over to the right side here, there's a lot of mucus, You've got a left kidney not filtering well. They got heavy lymph in the adrenals on that side. You've got a lot of inflammation in the left knee. The upper femur leg is weak. The lower part is weak. A little groin on that side and a little hip. The left ovary is just nothing but acidosis and mucus. I don't know if you have ovarian cysts come and go, but you've got to be very careful with that, not getting a tumor on that ovary. Your lymph system from your kidney, your rectal wall, your vaginal wall, your bladder, and your lower back, you have a lot of lymph in all those tissues that are not moving out well for yourself. And you want to fix that. You've got some spots up in the brain you want to get up with upper circuit brain and nerve. Now, it could be your eyelashes hanging down, but I don't think so. right side, cerebellum, mastoid, equilibrium dizzy center, real weak genetically in that case. Maybe a little pituitary here in this case. Bronchial trunks need to clean up. The same thing on the right side, the lower back, along with the bladder, the vaginal, the uterine, all of that area, just lots of mucus, lots of lymph. And your skin's down. So when I look at your thyroid, not bad, parathyroid's chronically lymphatic up. So you just open up all those, get your glands going. You've got pretty good genes, because with all that, behind there are some really good genes. But really, chronic bowels, chronic lymph, you just got to get this lymph moving. You got to get yourself sweating, you got to get your thyroid up, and you got to get your adrenals and kidneys filtering, and all this will clean out. And so if you need any more help, talk to Megan and they'll work on you in that way. But I do have to run, and my love is always with each and every one of you guys. You know, we'll work each and every one of our people out of Hellville into Wellville. You know, I don't care how long it takes. We're here to do this, and all you beautiful people are helping so many people. I want you to be proud of yourselves, not egotistically, but be proud of yourselves for your work in helping others, because suffering isn't the gig here. You know, there's ups and downs, but when you suffer too long, that's not in the mix of things. So I love you all, and till the next video, which be tomorrow. Bye-bye.